Our next video for section 3.3 is going to cover some word problems that you have in this section. You have a couple of pretty detailed word problems in this section, and they all kind of work out the same way. So I'm just going to look at one, and I'm not going to work it out all of the way, but I want to work it out enough to help you to know how to set it up. And so that you'll know exactly kind of how to read through it and how to kind of what to do with all of the information, because it can be overwhelming to begin with. So this problem is, it says to qualify for a loan of $200,000, an applicant must have a gross income of $72,000 if single, or $100,000 combined income if married. It is also necessary to have assets of at least $50,000. Write these statements symbolically, and then it tells you that S is the applicant is single. Assume not S, the applicant is married. A, the applicant has assets of $50,000. C, the applicant has a gross income of $72,000. D, the applicant has combined income with spouse of $100,000. Q, the applicant qualifies for a loan of $200,000. Okay, if you're like me when I first read this problem, that's a lot of information, and it's kind of information overload. And so really, I had to read this problem a couple of times to kind of just get the gist of what it was saying. And then I kind of had to start kind of writing this information down until I figured out, okay, so really, you're basically talking about two different people here. So either you are single or you are married. Okay. And so what I did is I kind of went through the list, and I kind of went through the problem, and I tried to make a list of, and I wanted to write down everything that pertained to the single people and everything that pertained to the married people. And I wanted to write them underneath these two columns. Now, notice in the problem that they give you the variables that they want you to use. So, for example, right here it says S, the applicant is single. So I went ahead and labeled single, and then not S, the applicant is married. So I went ahead and labeled not S for married. So anytime they've given me a variable, I'm going to go ahead and label those whenever I put them underneath single and married. Okay, so also when I label these things, I'm going to mark them out as I put them into underneath the column, so that way I can make sure that I have gotten all the information from the problem. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to notice that single people, it says that has a gross income of $72,000 if they're single. And so that right there, I'm going to go ahead and I listed that. If you're single with $72,000, you qualify for this loan. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that out. And they also said that that was C. So that was down here. So I went ahead and marked that out. So that says you qualify for the loan at $72,000. If you are married, then you could have a combined income of $100,000. So that was from right here. $100,000 combined income if married. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. And that they gave that the letter D. And so I'm going to mark that out. So I'll put that under the married people. Okay. And then now this says assets. It is also necessary to have assets of at least $50,000. Now notice this does not say single or married. So I had to think about that. So assets of $50,000 pertains to both people. So that means I had to put it under both people. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're single or you're married, you have to have assets of at least $50,000. And they gave that the letter A. And so I went ahead and put that under both people. Okay. And so that pretty much took care of everything. So here's what I ended up doing. So I thought about it and I basically said everything, if you were single, you could, if you had a gross income of $72,000 and $50,000 of assets, or if you were married with $100,000 and you had assets of $50,000, then you would qualify for the loan of $200,000. And that they listed as Q. Okay, because that's what they said. So that implies Q. Okay, so this is where I'm leaving it with you. All right, because this is where you should be able to write this statement. All right, so this is where now you should be able to write this statement. Okay, because here's what you have. You have this and this. So if you're single and you have gross income and you have assets. You have to have all three of these things. So this and this and this. Or you're not married or you're not single, so married, and you have a combined income and you have assets. So you have these three things. So you can have either these three things or you can have these three things. And that implies Q. Then you qualify for the loan. Now, how are you going to keep these two things apart? Well, you're going to put them in the box, right? How do we put things in boxes in math? Well, typically we put them in parentheses, right? So parentheses are our boxes. Okay, so that is how you work through these word problems. So I hope that this helps you, and hopefully that will help you work through these couple of word problems in these sections. That's how I would work through all of these word problems. So hopefully that will help you. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Thanks so much.